BookTube, how are you doing? Today I'm back for another Friday Reads, discussing my week in reading and sharing a poem with you right at the very end. And it's been quite a good reading week, I'd say. A few milestones, lots of stuff that I've enjoyed. To begin with, I want to talk about Weather by Jenny Offill. Here it is. And I was talking about this last week a little bit, and I was having a little bit of trouble with it. I was enjoying it, but I suppose the thing that was getting under my skin a little bit was just not really feeling like I was getting to know the character, the main character, the narrator. I think it's Lizzie, if I remember right, or Elizabeth. Yeah, Lizzie. And to be fair, by the time I finished, I did get to know her a little bit more, and also by the end I kind of felt like there was lots of stuff that she's mentioning, and because everything is filtered through her, you're kind of realising that things that she's kind of choosing to tell you, to update you on, are really things that she wants you to know, because they're things that maybe she's concerned about, and things that are like either little red flags or little signals to maybe where her head is at, her anxieties, and just the things that she's thinking about and trying to work through. That became much more obvious towards the end, although I still feel like it could have been done more, maybe in a richer way, but perhaps that was just a kind of byproduct of the form of this book. I think, as I showed you last week, I'll show you again. It's written in these tiny little paragraphs, and to be fair, I did quite enjoy this form. It was really fun to read. It kept me quite engaged, and I was, when I put it down, I wanted to pick it back up again. So there was nothing burdensome about it. It was, quite easy to read. And I was wondering whether this kind of form, whether it had something to do with maybe the effect that social media and things like that may have on our reading and on writing. Because these paragraphs read more like updates or notifications rather than scenes or paragraphs or chapters or whatever. I mean, 2 or 3 of these little paragraphs tend to constitute a scene or an event. So it's very quick, very brief snatches of time or thoughts, and it's I was just wondering what other books maybe that are out there. If you know, please let me know. Books with this kind of very short, very brief kind of style, formatting, however you want to phrase it. I'm sure over at Mark Nash's channel, he's probably talked about other books written in a similar way. I'm sure I've kind of remembered stuff like that, so I'll probably head over to his channel too to see. But no, I did enjoy this, and I did enjoy that form, which is probably why I want to chase up novels like this. But I still felt like by the end that nothing had really happened, or things had happened, but there'd been no massive change for me. You kind of got to know some characters in the relationship of this family better. You got to maybe understand these anxieties about climate change, which I feel were kind of pushed up to another notch. All these theories, all this research really about climate change, you kind of just push things up, maybe just one notch further up than reality, just to get readers maybe thinking a little more seriously about it, perhaps. And all those things were really good, but again, it just felt like nothing particularly happened, and it wasn't particularly memorable, which was a shame, but it's still an enjoyable read, and a very, very kind of heartfelt and sincere book. So I would still recommend it. It didn't particularly blow my socks off, but I still enjoyed it. I still I think it's a book that's more than worthwhile your time and your thoughts. So that's Weather by Jenny Offill. And then I suppose the other kind of landmark in the past week's reading has been finishing the Iliad. I was kind of perplexed by the ending, and I don't really know how much to say about this, other than I probably want to read it again, maybe even try another translation. I did really enjoy the videos that Matthew over at Maybury Book Club and Steve Donoghue were doing. They were quite insightful and fun, and I really enjoyed sort of playing along from the sidelines. But yeah, it was good. I kind of thought Achilles was going to die in the end, because I knew that the Iliad doesn't cover the whole Trojan War, but I couldn't remember, sort of how big a slice it was. I really wasn't really liking Achilles very much once he got on the battlefield. But I've been thinking a bit about maybe the mirroring of Achilles and Hector, and how maybe they are kind of mirrors or doubles of each other. But I'd have to think a bit more about that, and maybe try and read a few more translations and see where that thought develops. The other big fun thing this week has been I've been playing with this, my new Kindle. I've for a while quite liked the idea of having a dedicated e-reader, and we got one just a couple of weeks ago, but I wasn't really sure what to do with it. I didn't particularly like the idea of buying books, just kind of for it and just giving more money to Amazon. So I have kind of gravitated towards the books that are free, and it's just maybe a chance to read things that I might not have picked up otherwise. Another idea that I've had is maybe reading books where I might want to pick up a copy in the future, just to see whether it's worth buying the copy. The example in my head is Moby Dick. I've always wanted to read Moby Dick, and in my head I really want to have a really good cover, a really good edition. But then there's that little voice in me that's like, well, what if you don't like Moby Dick? What if you really hate it? So I've got Moby Dick on the Kindle, and a few of the books I put in that category, and I just thought I'd try them. And if I'm enjoying them, I can pick up a copy for rereads, or maybe if I only read half of it on the Kindle and eventually read the whole thing or something. There's no rhyme or reason to it, no set rule, but I thought it would be a good way to explore and experience stuff that I might not otherwise pick up, or might want to pick up in the future. And I read on this the other day. I read Walking by Henry David Thoreau, just a kind of an essay really about the length of one of those little black sort of mini penguin classics. Quite short, and quite enjoyed it. Quite enjoyed the passages where he was talking about sort of being out in nature. I didn't particularly enjoy this idea of going west, and the idea of the east being old and primitive in the west, and this westward movement in America being the future, and just the kind of that kind of idealism was kind of problematic to me. And I think if Thoreau would have been able to time travel to maybe 100 years afterwards, he maybe would have been quite depressed to find the America that emerged. But as an experience of reading, I've been really enjoying the Kindle. I quite enjoy the way you can sort of highlight and leave notes and stuff. That's been really fun. So I think it will be a very useful tool going forward in the future. I've also still been read Comet, and I've been really enjoying this. I've kind of gone through her sort of college years, her time at Smith, and I'm now at a time at Mademoiselle magazine, a sort of internship that inspired the first half of the Bell Jar, and it's really fascinating, and it is really just kind of sad, I suppose, just to see and understand in a deeper way what it really was to be a woman, trying to make it in the literary world in 1950s America. Even after reading it, I can really only begin to imagine, it just sounds just so tough and demoralising, to be honest. And I'm out of that section, it seems, where Heather Clark is spending so much time talking about Sylvia Plath's dating life, which many people have found a bit annoying. But it actually got to a point where I was actually beginning to quite enjoy those sections, and was finding it quite interesting to see how her dating life was maybe influencing certain areas of her writing and her development. So I'm really enjoying this. I'm trying to actually read this a bit less so I can focus on the other books I'm reading, because I'm finding I'm just gravitating to this all the time. Still at, I don't know, 200 and something pages, maybe 250, somewhere around there. It's only a dent in this so far, but yeah, it's great so far. And then for the Reading Europe 2021 challenge, I'm now Italy. That's the country I'm in with now, with the way the games have gone. So I've been reading Italo Calvino's complete Cosmicomics, and they're quite fun. Essentially each short story kind of takes a scientific hypothesis and uses it as inspiration for these really strange, wacky, surreal stories that I think actually on the whole come off quite well. There are a few that are just a little too bizarre, a little too bewildering and kind of abstract to enjoy, but there are, on the whole they're quite fun. My favourite is still the first I read, called The Distance of the Moon, but I also enjoyed The Dinosaurs, and I think a book called The Aquatic Uncle, a story called The Aquatic Uncle, and yeah, they were just really silly, almost like Popeye or a Looney Tunes cartoon or something like that, but yeah, they're really fun, and I look forward to getting deeper into the Cosmicomics. And then finally, I've been reading the poems of Zbigniew Herbert, and I thought I would sort of finish off with sharing one that stood out to me the other day. This poem is called I Would Like to Describe, and as you can kind of get from the title, it is kind of a poem that strives towards new descriptions, new metaphors, new similes, new images, and kind of failing, but maybe trying to see what we can do with that failure, perhaps. But I'll stop rambling on and just see what you think of it. I would like to describe. I would like to describe the simplest emotion, joy or sadness, but not as others do, reaching for shafts of rain or sun. I would like to describe a light which is being born in me, but I know it does not resemble any star, for it is not so bright, not so pure, and is uncertain. I would like to describe courage without dragging behind me a dusty lion, and also anxiety without shaking a glass full of water. To put it another way, I would like to give all metaphors in return for one word, drawn out of my breast like a rib, for one word contained within the boundaries of my skin. But apparently this is not possible. And just to say I love, I run around like mad, picking up handfuls of birds, and my tenderness, which after all is not made of water, asks the water for a face. And anger, different from fire, borrows from it a loquacious tongue. So is blurred in me what white-haired gentlemen separated once and for all, and said, this is the subject, and this is the object. We fall asleep, with one hand under our head, and with the other in a mound of planets. Our feet abandon us, and taste the earth with their tiny roots, which next morning we tear out painfully. So that's I Would Like to Describe by Zbigniew Herbert. Yeah, great Polish poet, really enjoying his work so far. And that's everything for this week. Yeah, hope you enjoyed it. If you've read anything I mentioned, have any opinions, yeah, let me know. I look forward to chatting with you about them in the comments. But yeah, for now, that's everything. I hope to see you soon in another video or elsewhere on BookTube. For all of you over in America experiencing the really random weather, I hope you're persevering okay and managing to keep relatively cool and comfortable. But yeah, for now that's everything. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Alright.